All right, what's going on, guys? LIBOR. Anybody that's familiar with finance knows about LIBOR, which is a rate that banks use to loan money to each other. And I'll bring up the definition right here from Investopedia. LIBOR is the average interest rate at which major global banks borrow from one another. It is based on five currencies, including the US dollar, the euro, the British pound, the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc, and serves seven different maturities: overnight, spot next, 1 week, and 1, 2, 3, 6, and 12 months. The combination of five currencies and seven maturities leads to a total of 35 different LIBOR rates calculated at reported each business day. The most commonly quoted rate is the 3-month US dollar rate, usually referred to as the current LIBOR rate. So this rate is used to loan money interbank between banks. And one thing that they're finding with open finance and DeFi is they need some sort of central rates to peg some of the stuff to as an oracle, which is, as you can see from this article, introducing DIPOR, LIBOR for open finance. So this article actually goes into LIBOR, I should say DIPOR, which is LIBOR for open finance, DeFi, basically the new open finance system. LIBOR, the London Interbank Offered Rate, is a benchmark interest rate used by major global banks to lend to one another in the international interbank market. There are multiple LIBOR rates ranging from overnight loans to 12-month terms. Before the LIBOR scandal came to light in 2012, it served as a foundation for global interest-related products: loans, bonds, interest rate swaps, collateralized debt obligations, and more. More recently, American institutions have moved away from LIBOR to the secured overnight financing rate, which offers just one short-term rate. And the reason for this is what was mentioned in this section, which was the LIBOR scandal. The LIBOR scandal, which came to light in 2012, involved a scheme by bankers at many major financial institutions to manipulate the London Interbank Offered Rate for the purpose of profit. The LIBOR, which is calculated daily, is supposed to reflect the interest rate that the banks pay to borrow money from each other. It is also the basis for determining the rates charged on many other kinds of loans. Evidence suggests that this collusion had been going on since at least 2005, possibly earlier than 2003. So the main point here is, in the LIBOR scandal, some banks reported artificially low or high interest rates to benefit their derivatives traders, undermining a major benchmark for interest rates in financial products. So this probably had something to do with the crisis that happened in 2009. I know that was more had to do with housing and poorly rated people that were getting loans for mortgages. But it's showing that obviously you have a centralized system. This can be an issue when people bend the rules. But going back to this article about this new system for open finance. As the blockchain-based open finance movement continues to build momentum and analogous products, loans, interest rate swaps, total return swaps, start to proliferate, it is becoming increasingly necessary for a similar market-driven benchmark interest rate to emerge. Further, this market-driven benchmark interest rate can provide valuable insight to top-down committees like Maker DAO stakeholders when determining how to set interest rates within their own ecosystems. Accordingly, the block presents DIPOR, the Decentralized Inter-Protocol Offered Rate. Specifically, this is talking about Maker DAO's stability fee. On Wednesday, April 10th, 14 members of the open finance community came together for the inaugural DIPOR call, laying the foundations for defining and formalizing DIPOR, and more specifically, discussing how Maker DAO's risk management teams can benefit from DIPOR. In broad terms, DIPOR is an on-chain oracle for the volume-weighted average borrow interest rate of specific cryptocurrencies. Ideally, the final implementation of DIPOR would be a tool for allowing for the addition and removal of specific lending platforms, thereby providing different groups the ability to ascertain where their offered rates fit into context of the wider market. For Maker DAO, DIPOR would represent yet another data point alongside market maker inventories and broader analysis of supply and demand dynamics for determining stability fee adjustment. While it remains to be determined exactly what the relationship between DIPOR and the stability fee should be, the following reasons may be a step in the right direction. Maker DAO is unique among open finance lending protocols in that those borrowing DAI are simultaneously minting new DAI, thereby increasing total outstanding supply. This increase in supply has a material impact on DAI's ability to maintain its target $1 peg. When supply exceeds demand, as it has since January, DAI will trade below $1. Conversely, when demand exceeds supply, DAI will trade above $1. And as you can see, as of today, we're at 96 cents. So we are not at $1 for DAI. When DAI is trading below $1, Maker DAO stakeholders want to encourage would-be borrowers to source DAI from alternative lending platforms where they would not materially affecting DAI supply. Thus, we can start to form a rough relationship equation between the stability fee and DIPOR. When the stability fee is below that of DIPOR, Maker DAO stakeholders should raise rates above DIPOR so that it's cheaper to borrow on alternative platforms. Conversely, when DAI is above $1 and more supply is necessary, the stability fee should be adjusted below DIPOR rates to encourage further minting. So this is a solution to the issue of keeping DAI at a peg to the dollar. One thing that was also mentioned in this article, which I did not highlight, is the fact that, right here. At present, this relationship is complicated by single collateral DAI. Platforms like Compound and Nuo allow borrowers to post any collateral of choice, whereas Maker DAO currently only supports ETH as collateral. Resultantly, until multi-collateral DAI arrives, we should expect DIPOR, excluding Maker DAO, to always be higher than the stability fee, as those borrowers without ETH collateral cannot arbitrage rates between Maker DAO and Compound, Nuo, and remaining lending platforms. So this also has to do with Maker DAO not having multi-collateral DAI yet, which will obviously help keep the peg at $1. But DIPOR itself is, like it said, it's an on-chain oracle for figuring out the correct interest rate for things like the Maker DAO stability fee, but obviously it can also be used to calculate other interest rates on other platforms like Compound, Dharma, lots of different platforms that are part of DeFi and the open finance system as a whole. So the link to this article will be in the description if you want to check out the entire thing. It's quite long, but I just wanted to go over the main points and let you guys know that this is being worked on as a solution to the problems that are popping up, as this is an experiment kind of in real time, kind of living out in front of our eyes. So DIPOR, pretty cool, new stuff. Please like the video, subscribe, and that's all I got. Thanks.